little teary-eyed. But yeah, and then I wake up the next day and like have a phone call like with my lawyers for one of the lawsuits.
It's officially over. Jake Paul just hit rock bottom, and it's a fall nobody saw coming this soon. Yeah, Jake just kissed the canvas in a recent sparring session with Mike Tyson. But this wasn't just any fight. This might be the knockout that ends Jake's entire career. And trust me, what happened in that sparring session is so brutal, you're going to want to see how this plays out. The YouTuber turned boxer is in tears after the most epic fail of his career. After months of trash talk and massive claims about how he was going to knock out Mike Tyson on November 15th at the AT&T Arena, Jake just got exposed in the most brutal way possible. And this might really be the final chapter for Jake Paul's boxing career. It's hard to see how Jake might bounce back from this, and it might finally be time the former Disney star hangs up his gloves.
I'm retiring from boxing. I'm getting hit in the f***ing face every single day while I could be playing soccer in Saudi. I'm friends with the Saudis slash football.
Back in the day?
I was on the A team in 7th grade. I have a really good kick. I can run fast, and I'll knock out everyone that f***s with us.
Yeah.
Please give me $1 billion.
And I approve this message.
We also have exclusive footage of the sparring session, but you'll want to see the moment when Mike Tyson drops Jake. So, Mike decided to pull the plug on their big fight after realizing Jake was nowhere near ready to face a seasoned pro like him. But the legend didn't just cancel the whole event. He took Jake's entire boxing career down with it. It all happened during a pre-fight sparring session last week where Mike straight up humiliated Jake in the ring. We're talking about a total beatdown. Jake got smacked around so badly that everyone in the gym had their jaws on the floor. And Jake? Oh, he's been in tears ever since.
They're suing me for something I didn't do. Like, on God. It's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of money for no.
And trust me, the story only gets crazier from here. You won't believe what Jake Paul did after his humiliating defeat. Stick around to find out. Now, I know you want to know all the nitty-gritty of the incident, so let's dive right in. Jake Paul's overconfidence just hit a brick wall, and that wall was none other than Mike Tyson himself. The two finally stepped into the ring for a pre-fight sparring session to see where they really stood. And let's just say Jake's fantasy of being the next boxing kingpin came crashing down hard. Jake was riding high on his ego, acting like he could actually take on a legend, but Tyson didn't hold back. During the sparring session, it became crystal clear that Jake was in way over his head. Mike, even at 58, was sharper, faster, and way more powerful than Jake could have imagined. After a few rounds, Tyson rocked him with a combo that sent Jake straight to the canvas. And just like that, all the swagger and big talk Jake's been spewing for months went up in smoke. We've been noticing for a while now that Jake's stamina isn't where it should be, and this sparring session just proved it. Get this, most of the footage from that disastrous sparring session isn't something the fans are ever going to see. And that's probably the one thing Jake Paul is thankful for right now. The session was private, meant to test both fighters' readiness, but word on the street says the knockout was brutal. Imagine the embarrassment if the footage ever leaked. It's ironic if you think about it because Jake has built his entire persona around being this knockout artist, bragging about his power and KO highlights like they're trophies. Now he's the one kissing the canvas in the most humiliating way possible. I mean, remember Jake's big talk at the presser on August 18th?
You had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?
The problem child was practically daring Tyson to come at him. He even went so far as to mock Mike for his age and health, calling him out in front of the entire boxing world. Jake literally cursed out the entire city of New York, saying he was going to take down their legend, as if taking out Mike Tyson was going to be his crowning achievement. Yeah, that didn't age well at all. Fast forward 2 weeks after the presser, and Jake's entire career is practically over. Now, during the sparring session, Tyson showed Jake exactly why he's considered one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. It wasn't just about the raw power that Mike brought to the ring. It was the way he read Jake's moves, dodging his punches with the kind of ring IQ that only decades of experience can bring. At one point, Tyson landed a brutal right hook that had the gym buzzing, with everyone watching wide-eyed as Jake struggled to stay on his feet. The knockout blow was the final straw. That moment wasn't just a loss, it was the end of Jake's delusion that he could hang with the real pros. The problem child had the whole fight world thinking he was some kind of A-list athlete with his cocky personality. His talk of knocking out Tyson was nothing but hype. And now that he's been exposed in the ring, Jake's credibility has tanked. But let's not forget how Jake's words came back to haunt him. During that August 18th press conference, Jake had the audacity to claim that Tyson's time was up, and that he was going to put the old man to rest. Jake said it with his chest too, as if the legendary Mike Tyson was just another name on his hit list. Well, 2 weeks later, and it's clear that Jake was living in a fantasy world. Not only did Mike humiliate him in sparring, but Jake's whole career is now hanging by a thread. It's wild how quickly things turned from Jake making bold promises to Jake eating those very words in the ring. But Jake didn't just lose the fame from this fight, he lost a ton of cash too. Let's be honest, there was a lot riding on this. We're talking millions in fight earnings and sponsorships, and even Netflix was on board to make a massive documentary about the whole thing. This wasn't just another influencer boxing match, it was about to be one of the biggest money-making events of Jake's career. But now, after getting wrecked by Mike Tyson, all that money, gone, the contracts, canceled, the doc, probably not happening anymore. Jake was set to cash in big, but instead he's walking away with nothing but a bruised ego. Talk about going from the top to rock bottom real quick. And let's be real, this was bound to happen. Jake Paul's entire boxing career has been hanging by a thread from the start. Sure, he had the hype, the clout, and some knockout wins against washed-up athletes and social media stars, but deep down, everyone knew he didn't belong in the same conversation as real fighters. It's like Jake was playing dress-up, pretending to be a professional boxer while the real stars, like Gervonta Davis and Canelo Alvarez, are out there grinding and putting in the real work. The ring isn't some playground for YouTubers trying to boost their brand. It's a battlefield for athletes who have dedicated their lives to this sport. Jake has always relied on his brash personality to stay relevant in the fight game. He talks a big game, calls out legends, and loves playing the villain. But that's all it's ever been. Jake's been way over his head lately, calling out the biggest names of the sport without analyzing his skill level. Think about the guys he's been calling out.
What the is up, you Irish cunt? Good morning, Conor McGregor. I know you're probably beating up old dudes in a bar right now, or maybe you're jacking off because you're sick of wife. I mean, she's a 4, Conor. You could do a lot better, but happy Monday. My team sent you a $50 million offer this morning.
Conor McGregor, one of the most dangerous strikers in MMA, a guy who's fought legends and built a legacy, and Jake's acting like he can take him on? Let's be real, Conor's been in the cage with the best of the best. Jake, meanwhile, got into boxing as a way to keep his name out there after his YouTube hype. But here's the thing, boxing isn't some quick trend. It's not a game you can play just to stay in the spotlight. And this sparring session with Tyson showed us all that Jake's been skating by on hype and nothing else. Tyson exposed Jake, and now the cracks are showing. He's way out of his league. The ring is a sacred place for true athletes. It's where legacies are built and where reputations can be destroyed in an instant. For fighters like Davis and Canelo, boxing is their life. For Jake Paul, it's always felt more like a marketing stunt, and that's why his career was doomed from the start. The moment he got in there with someone who knows what it means to be a real fighter, his whole act crumbled. Now, he's left with nothing but a bruised ego, a shattered reputation, and fans who are slowly starting to realize that Jake Paul never really belonged in the fight world to begin with. Jake's reaction after getting knocked out by Mike Tyson, absolutely devastated. I mean, this hit him hard, not just physically, but mentally too. After all that trash talk and hype, getting wrecked like that in front of everyone was a massive blow to his ego. But here's the kicker. Jake isn't just done with this fight, he's done with boxing completely. He straight up said he's had enough and that the fight world never really took him seriously anyway. In his words, "They've been bringing me down from the start." Now he's talking about going back to his roots, ditching the gloves, and leaving the boxing ring behind. Well, we all knew that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight was in jeopardy, but with this knockout, it'll never see the light of day. So that's all I have for you today. Do you think Jake still deserves a spot in the fight world? Fill the comment section with your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next